It's got it at our end, Phil. I think it's yours. Mark, has it come through your end? Marvellous. Okay, right. So I'm just waiting for the nod from the cameraman. We're good. Right, okay, so we'll go with Gary Cottrell from Sky first. And if I can get hands for anyone else who wants to take part in the broadcast section, which obviously is unembargoed for immediate release. When we've done there, we will then go to a written section under embargo until 10:30 this evening. If everyone else who's not asking questions put themselves on mute, that will stop the feedback. And then we will go with Gary Cottrell from Sky Sports.
Thomas, glad to see you kept working all the way through that. Every second is valuable in the Premier League season.
Yeah, actually, every second is valuable. It was a bit of work and a message to my wife, so equally important,
Definitely. It's pretty easy, this Premier League like, isn't it? You must be pleased with the start that you've had, just looking back before we look forward.
Thanks, Gary. I don't know, it's easy. And I like to make the first assessment after 19 games, because that's where we faced everyone in this fantastic league. I'm pleased with the two performances we put in so far. Very aware that there's things we still need to improve, but it's a good foundation to build from, definitely.
What do you think you need to improve?
I want us to be even better on the ball. I think in spells, both against Arsenal and especially against Crystal Palace second half, I felt we rushed it a bit too much. But also I think it's a tricky thing, because I want to be good in all aspects of the game, and that's sometimes tricky. So I felt that we were really good in the pressing forward and aggressive, and I felt we won the ball back in some very good areas. So in those situations, we should have produced more chances. But also when you go high energy, press aggressively forward, then sometimes it's difficult. Okay, now pause, move the ball well, find the right areas. So it's that balance we need to get right.
So it sounds like you feel that actually with a few tweaks, if you can achieve that, you can actually do even better than you've done so far.
Yeah. We try to push the bar every single day, and constantly try to improve. And I think that should be the mindset.
So how do you treat the Carabao Cup then in a Premier League season? Do you treat it differently to you had a real go obviously last season, but you were in the Championship then? Yeah,
I think actually last year was in some ways even more tricky. We had the most condensed season ever in the Championship. We by the time we faced Tottenham in the semi-final last year, we were the team in Europe that played the most game overall. So more than Tottenham, that played a lot. I think played one more. More than Madrid, more than Barcelona, more than City, more than Liverpool. So all these big clubs flying in private jets, and we're cruising around in buses and trains, and we don't have fancy recovery bits, but we still manage to do it because I have unbelievable staff and players. So I think it's never easy, but it's easier to do it. So we want to treat it equally as important. We like to do even better than last year if possible.
Okay, so that's what, get to the final, maybe win it.
Yeah, there's only 2 extra steps, first to get to the final and then second maybe win it. So we definitely we'll try to win it. We will try to do as good as possible. We know there's probably 20 teams or 30 teams that also try to do that, but definitely get as far as possible.
So that means look, Forest Green aren't going to be arriving in a private jet, but you still need to put out a decent side if you're going to live up to those ambitions, don't you?
Forest Green have done very well. I think it's a remarkable story that Ethan Pinnock was there. I can't remember how many, 4 years ago or something like that. 4 years ago. And when he left them, they just qualified for the Football League, I think it was, or promoted for the Football League. And now they're top of League 2. Won their first 5 games, I think it is. Look very interesting, done a very good job. The club has done a very good job. So, and I said that to the players today after the final session. I've been here now 4.5 years in England. and I faced all kind of scenarios in this Carabao Cup. We've been kicked out in the first possible round we could enter by a League Two side. Also went out by penalties. I think that was by a League One side. Then we progressed to maybe 2 steps. And last year we beat 4 Premier League sides and we went to the final semi-final toe-to-toe with Tottenham. So every scenario is possible, but we will be very aware, and hopefully we are so far ahead that we can win the game tomorrow. We know for Forest Green it will be a big game, and they will come with everything.
You've just played Arsenal. You've just played Crystal Palace. You're going to be playing Aston Villa. You're a Premier League team now with a nice new stadium. Is there any chance at all that the players might just take it all a bit for granted? There might be a giant killing on the cards.
I would be very disappointed if they do that. Very, very disappointed. That's not the same that we can't lose, because football is football and we need to perform on the day. But I'll be disappointed if you don't put out a lot of effort and a good performance tomorrow, and then hopefully you have enough quality to win the game.
And the team will obviously, there'll be a chance of players who haven't featured so far.
Yeah, I think it's the right balance, by put a strong side out there that on paper hopefully are stronger than Forest Green. Then we know it needs to be decided on the grass. Make sure that we get some players in to get some minutes and make them, ready for them to compete. Put players in the team that still have the core on the team, so we still can so it's not too many changes overall. But I think we have a strong squad, and a little thing there. Ethan Pinnock will of course play, and he will captain the side tomorrow.
Well, brilliant. Thank you very much, and good luck.
Thank you. Welcome.
Can we get Phil Parry from BBC Radio London next, please?
Afternoon, Thomas.
Afternoon, Phil.
Good to see you. Last year, obviously, as you've mentioned, beating 4 Premier League teams in order to get to the semi-final stage. And when it came to the sort of confidence, or the confidence in your own ability as a group to be able to take to the Premier League as you have this season, how much could you reflect back on those games against Premier League sides, and even the narrow defeat to Spurs and the narrow defeat to Leicester in the FA Cup as well?
No, that definitely gave us a boost that we could compete against these strong clubs and teams in the Premier League 100%. I think one of the biggest boosts was against Southampton in the second round, where that's a good reminder. Now I'm thinking back, and of course I would say that to the players tomorrow. They played their strongest starting 11 they could potentially put out there, and we put a strong side out there, but we didn't put our strongest. We had 6 or 7 normal starters, and that was enough on the day to beat them. So we need to be ready. But that confidence, hopefully we can bring it into the players, and I think we have a good squad, and the players are training really well. So there's a lot of players that deserve to get the chance.
And the mindset, of course, last year you were the team from a division below, beating Premier League teams, and the cliche is to say grabbing a Premier League scalp. Now you are a Premier League scalp that Forest Green would be aiming for. Is that in a way a more pressurised situation, but also a pleasing situation, because it means it's where you are, where you want to be?
Yeah, definitely. I like the last part, Phil. Definitely, of course, it's pleasing because we have achieved one of our first aims or goals. Now we want to do more. I'm very aware, and I think all the teams I've been part of facing that were a league below us were so difficult in the cup. I remember that was the FA Cup. I think we made off Oxford a couple of years ago, winning 1-0 in the 80th minute by a penalty by Neil Maupay. So after he came off the bench. So it's going to be tough, I know that, but I still expect us to perform and hopefully go to the next round.
Just to reflect on the club as a whole, the B team have used cup competitions to give younger players, up and coming players, a real opportunity of playing in something that's meaningful. The players that maybe get a chance that haven't featured yet so much in the Premier League, but will get a chance tomorrow night's game, is that is that the good thing, that you can give them a really, sort of game with meaning that they come into, that they have to go out there and actually get the victory, and that just sets them up, battle hardens them if you need them in the Premier League?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's going to be an extremely competitive game. They need to do a job. They need to go out there and perform. And that's the best learning you can get. So you're even more prepared to step in potentially in the Premier League. So the more experience of these games you can get, the better. And I think it's, hopefully we build a squad and a culture where when people steps in, bang, they are ready to perform. I think we showed that throughout the last 2 years with consistent performances. Very, very few where we've been, that was a bad one. So that's what I'm pleased with, but we can't take for granted. We need to be there tomorrow.
Word on Forest Green, not just obviously they started the season really, really well, made a managerial change in the summer, but they've obviously got ambition. But how much do you know, and what do you know, and how much do you admire the culture that the club has there? They have a way of going about things. Dale Vince has created a club that he wants to move forward as a club, not just on but off the pitch as well. How Brentford have that, having a holistic approach to your football club. How important is that, do you think, these days?
I think that's where you can hopefully bring something to a higher level. I believe massively in that holistic way of doing things. I think that develop the club. I think that develop the people or the persons in the club, not only the players, but also the staff. And that's where you can get even more out of people. And if you get even more out of people, you can make 1 + 1 get to be 3. So I think that's one of our strengths we showed in Brentford, and where we have that, let's say, togetherness value that constantly speak about. But togetherness is that you stand together, and if you stand together, you're stronger. And if you stand together better than your opponent, you have a better chance of winning it. But it takes years and time and day in, day out, where you do the same thing and then you put layers on it. So I agree with you that Forest Green are in a good place and they look interesting for the future.
And one final question for me in regards to Ethan. And again, another story, and we reflected on it with Sergi Canos actually the other day, the sort of the hungry but humble. Ethan Pinnock's story as well is a magnificent story. He was at a professional club, dropped into non-league, worked his way through non-league. Forest Green was part of his journey, and look at him now in the Premier League. He's a tale, isn't he? That don't give up, keep trying. Whether it's an individual, whether it's a club, Brentford have had plenty of down days as well as up days. It's determination and belief, and never giving up can bring rewards in the end.
100% agree. I think Ethan is an example to follow for many persons in football. Now he is a Premier League player, and I'm pretty sure if we didn't got promoted this year, there would have been bids for him to go to other Premier League clubs. Very pleased that he's playing for Brentford. What I admire a lot is, how he constantly tries to improve, how well he trains every single day. He is never missing a training. He never have a bad training in terms of attitude. Of course, you're going to have a bad pass or whatever, but constantly try to maximize. And I remember there's a couple of situations where he came in, and then, some players just stands out one of the first trainings. I remember down in the pre-season camp in, was it France? I can't remember. It was Austria 2 years ago when he first signed for the club. And we had some kind of transition drills, and it ended with some 1v1 situations. And he was just a beast. That's where I just think, we have a good player here. But of course, we scouted him, and we knew we were good, but you need to see it and feel them. Then we started the season. He started to play in the back three. He did fine, but it didn't. The results was not coming our way or going our way. So we changed to back four. I decided to play Julian Changvier instead, together with Pontus, and then Julian got a red card. But in that spell, I think that was 8 games maybe or something like that. Ethan was just training fantastically. Nothing, just trained 100%, waiting for his chance. No moaning, no coming knocking on my door, which is no problem. But it just like those honest players. He's a fantastic example of that. And then when he got his chance, bang! Unbelievable performance, winning 1-0 against Reading. And I truly remember straight after the game, I said, "Well done, but one player, wow, Ethan Pinnock." And then the players were just applauding him. So since then, he's never looked back.
Absolutely brilliant. See you tomorrow, Thomas. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Can we have John Lupo, please?
Hello, Thomas. How are you?
I'm very well, John. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. So you said after the game on Saturday that you wanted to see better finishing from the team. What specifically do you think you guys have to do against Forest Green to, convert the chances that you're being given?
I think I was maybe not saying finishing. I wanted to actually create even more chances. But of course, there was a few times where we could have put it into the back of the net. But I think we need to be, how can you say, still need to be direct when we can. But when we're up around the final third, we need to be more, in a way, patient, but still play with massive tempo. So that sharpness on the final third, and really wait for that killer pass, either a slide pass or cross, that need to be deadly. That's the thing we need to do better tomorrow.
Forest Green are top of League Two. They've already won. They've won their first 4 games. They've already scored 12 goals, and you guys haven't given up any goals. So what do you think? I don't know how much you've been able to look at their matches so far, but what do you think will be the keys in stopping them?
I think definitely we've been looking at them yesterday and this morning as well. I think they play I like the style of play. They play like 3-4-1-2 or 3-4-3, depending on how you structure the front three. They like to play. They like to combine central, get to the side, and then do the crosses and entering in the box. So we need to be able to stop the crosses and defend the box well. In the situation, we have to do that. But of course, I expect us to dominate the game, and I expect us to get tempo into the game. So that will be the biggest thing. Can we play with high enough tempo over time that hopefully should create chances?
Also, what do you think you guys have done so well defensively so far? I know you like to press high, but what do you think you guys have done so well defensively to limit really talented players like Smith Rowe and Zaha? And I know that Connor Gallagher got some chances, but you've been able to keep them out. What's been working so well defensively that you can carry into tomorrow?
I think a couple of things. One, as you said, I think we are able to press high in as many minutes as possible to keep the ball away from our half, more or less. So I think that's been a big part of it. Then when we are in the middle, low pressure, very good structure. Know what we want to do, where depending on where the ball is, and then when it comes down to the crucial moments inside the box, I think we'll be prepared to make the right blocks and be in the right defensive positions. And then on top of that, I think David Raya have been absolutely amazing. And we haven't needed him that much for the big saves yet. That will come, I know that.
2 more questions. Number one, I know you'll rotate the squad tomorrow. How heavily will you rotate it? And do you think in a game like this that getting experience for some of the other guys will also be important when you have to use naturally your entire squad for the Premier League games down the road when the fixture list gets a little more congested?
I think it's about getting the right balance of rotating some players. So everyone who's playing tomorrow should be very, very hungry and very, very big determination to win the game. But we also know that sometimes when some new players are coming in, they need to show that we can trust them, which I 100% do, but they need to show it, of course. And then we need some in the core of the team that can stabilize things and help everyone in the team. But the good thing is actually, I think we have quite a few players who played quite an important role for us the last year that haven't started. So no matter if I rotate 2 or 7 or whatever I decide to do tomorrow, I'm sure we'll put a very strong team out.
finally, I believe the transfer window is still open. Do you anticipate any more? Is there anything in the works? Do you anticipate any more new arrivals?
I agree with you. I think it's still open, the transfer window. But yeah, we are in the market. We are looking. We are not massively searching, but we are aware.
All right. Cheers, Thomas. Good luck tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Can I? We're now on to the section that will be embargoed until 10:30 this evening.